So the third speaker is an education session. The education session is know your audience, a very important session for public speaking. If there would be another name for public speaking, it would be audience speaking. And the person who is going to deliver this education session is a very great speaker, a barrister by profession and the immediate past president, Toastmasters Safi Ghauri.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tala. Now, fellow Toastmasters, what is the first word of the term public speaking? Public. Public is the first term, and so if you do not have a public, no matter how good a speaker you are, it's absolutely useless. And so if you were to try and improve the one thing that you have to improve, that would be your understanding of what the public is. You could work on your vocal variety, you could work on your body language, you could work on so many issues, but if you do not understand what the public wants, you will never get anywhere. And I'll give you an excellent example of that. A few days ago, this uncle of mine got a phone call. And he's sitting with me having tea, and the phone call, किसी ने पूछा, "आने कितनी देर में आ रहे हैं?" He's like, "हाँ जी, बस मोड़ के ऊपर हूँ 5 मिनट में." And I said, after he hung up, I said, "That's an obvious lie. You're not there and you won't reach there in the next 5 minutes." He said, "It doesn't matter, that's what he wanted to hear." And so that's what the reality is. You as a speaker need to give people what they want to hear. Now my friends, I understood this the hard way. I'll tell you a little story, a small personal experience. And some of you senior Toastmasters might even know what I'm talking about. But this is a reality. A while ago, when I was slightly new to Toastmasters, I came across this fantastic speaker. There's this guy who showed up. And he just turned my world around. I'm like, whoa, ये कौन सा speaker है? ये किस तरह इतना अच्छा बोलता है? I'm not going to take his name. So he came and he really impressed me. And I felt like I could really connect to him. And he told us what good public speaking is. He told us what organization is. He told us about leadership skills. And he told us so many things. And I was constantly like, I was in awe of this guy. And after the meeting was over, and I've never done this in Toastmasters, I went up to him and I said, "Sir, but I'm impressed." The same thing. Sara Coach, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll totally teach you whatever." And I got impressed. I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to learn from him." And so he said to me, and he's one of those professional speakers. There are a lot of professional speakers who get paid. लोग उनकी टिकटों के पैसे देते हैं, उनको बुलाते हैं, उनको पैसे देते हैं, स्टेज पे खड़े होके बोलो. So he was invited then to another event. Now this time, this was an event of doctors. And so I saw him delivering his speech, and as he was delivering his speech, initially I was very happy. As he cracked jokes, I laughed. As he stated those things that were not supposed to be very funny, where sometimes sad things, I also had those dips in emotions. But I realized one thing: he was repeating the same thing over again. All he had done was, he had just changed it slightly to fit the doctor community, ek do medical jokes वगैरह, but pretty much the same thing that he had said the first time too. So I was like, okay, fine, हो जाता है कभी-कभी. Moved on to the next meeting. He's like, yeah, I've been invited by the bunch of engineers, and let's go, engineers. And I'm like, oh, engineers. जाके देखेंगे engineers क्या करते. He came up and he's like, engineers are this, engineers are that, great. And then he started the same speech that he had already done. And I was like, why is he doing this? He क्या कर रहा है बंदा? He had already done this. This is not speaking. This is acting. This is, he's already done this before. So in the end, I went up to him and I complained a little. I'm like, you've already said these things before. In the last 2-3 days, you're just repeating yourself. And he said, no, I'm a public speaker. Okay, fine. Next meeting, CFOs, accountants, and a big meeting at Marriott, pura hall bhara hua, and he was paid like 5 lakh rupees to go to that meeting. And he comes up on the stage and he starts on about how great accountants and CFOs are. And then the same speech. I was like, ये क्या अच्छी से है. I was so upset, my fellow Toastmasters, that I blocked him from my Facebook. I told him never to contact me again. And I was like, every single Toastmaster is better than you because you're not a public speaker. You're an actor who is following a simple script. But as bad or as good as it may be, the reality of the matter is that this man is still making a lot more money in public speaking than I am. He's definitely got a lot more recognition in public speaking than anyone here does. And so, what is the secret to success? What is it that speakers want, and what is it that makes a speaker that speaker? So ठीक है, उसकी body language, blah blah blah, a bunch of things that he has turned around and he has understood. But what he really understands better than all of you combined together, including myself, is the audience. This is this one man who's figured out what the audience wants to hear, and he comes and just gives it to them right away. वो आता है, and he's like, doctors, doctors के लिए 4-5 लतीफ़े, engineers के लिए 4-5 anecdotes, CFOs के लिए, हर group के लिए उसने कुछ ना कुछ सीखा हुआ है. And so this is what knowing your audience is. Now my session here is a very boring session, education session. I'm supposed to educate you. Slides वगैरह भी होनी थी. I have asked them not to put on the slides. I am going to try and educate you as well as I can out of my memory. And so what are the variables that you have to look at when you want to know your audience? Because that's the first thing. You could have the best speech, and I have heard phenomenal speeches standing on this floor. I have heard geniuses come. इतने ज़बरदस्त लोग आते हैं जिनको कोई भी इधर ऑडियंस वोट नहीं करता. I swear to God, मैंने इधर बैठ के I have heard Nobel Prize worthy ideas. बेचारे एक लड़का आता था फहीम. I loved him. I loved Fahim because he was a scientist. वो बेचारा आके equations लिखना शुरू कर देता था. I'm the only person who's interested in science and math, so I would sit and appreciate him. किसी और को समझ भी नहीं आ रहा था. They'd be like, whatever. We still want to hear about positivity and how our potential is great. So this is what it is. Realize what your audience is. Maybe he would have been great at Qaid-e-Azam International University, but maybe not so in Toastmasters. Maybe I could be better in a court if I start on about what Section 52 of the CRPC is, and maybe the judge would love me for it, but you guys will definitely not. And so these are the variables that we have to start looking at. Now the first variable of public speaking is age. That's a very surprising variable, because one would expect that age does not play a role, but it surprisingly does. Like for instance, one of the questions that Rabia a little while ago asked here was, do you guys know what Marvel is? Clearly you are all too old for her. This is this is obvious age difference that differentiates everyone, and with the passage of time, age is going to become increasingly important. You will see in your different audiences that people tend to group together in age brackets more than any other bracket in the world. Older people tend to go towards one similar thing. School students go someplace else. Normally, if we get invited, like Amar for instance does, I do, aaj ye log UVT gaye hue the, they're young students. You can't go anywhere and expect somebody older is going to be sitting there. You'll obviously expect a particular age bracket, and so you have to make yourself and sort of have to mold your speech in a manner that appeals to a particular age. Now, another very important aspect. Number one is age. Number two is sex and gender. Now, Saban here doesn't believe in that, but the reality of the matter is that our society is such that it is very, very sensitive to the idea of what gender you are. And so, if you obviously go and there are only men, then you can be like, Khadim Hussain, you can go around, chill out, Trump ne mujhe bulaya, kitna you can be somewhat different. But if that's not the case, if you have, for instance, a whole degree of women, well, if you're a guy, then lucky you, that's your chance to impress them and get a lot of numbers. But you know, in case that's not what your game is, you still obviously have to be entirely different. If you're a woman, then you might appeal to them. And I've realized one of the pet subjects that we have learned over time is ek do dafa all women universities वगैरह में बुलाया है. And so of course the pet subject here is, you know, whatever you're talking about, you could be talking about public speaking and communication, but you throw in a little bit of female empowerment, you know, how independence, you know, stuff like that, and that appeals to women. You know, I can clearly see you guys are happy hearing that works. And so you know, we have age and gender, and then as a third criteria, we have, of course, the most important thing, which is your political affiliations, your religious affiliations. I don't feel like I can be myself here, but you know, कभी कभार इस लेने में क्या है, हमें से बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं, you know, Batmans. हमें लगता है कि हम इधर आएंगे, आज ऐसी स्पीच देंगे कि बाद सारा का सारा टोस्ट मास्टर्स को समझ में आ जाएगा once and for all. मगर वो टोस्ट मास्टर्स नहीं समझता, because people have their orientations in a particular manner, and so you have to cater to that. You have to understand what kind of a background people are coming from. That background includes not only education, not only occupation, but also includes the idea of where they are from. This is one of the most interesting things that I've noticed, that where you're from. For instance, whenever I go to, like, say, Peshawar or Quetta, मेरा accent भी एकदम बदल जाता है, मैं थोड़ा सा आहिस्ता आहिस्ता बोलना शुरू हो जाता हूँ, and I speak in a manner which emphasizes a lot on, for instance, nationalism, because people there are very nationalistic. So you have to see where the people are from, what they want to hear. लोगों को, if you give them what they want, they will automatically become more receptive to you. They will automatically like you more, and you have a greater chance of getting your ideas across. Now, apart from obviously the demographics of the audience, the other important issues are knowing what the hall is like. Great speakers always come before. They take a circle of the hall, they see how big it is, they accordingly adjust their voice. Right now my voice is obviously being heard at the back. अगर छोटा होता तो मैं आहिस्ता बोल रहा होता, बड़ा होता तो मैं और भी ऊंचा बोल रहा होता, जलसा होता तो Imran Khan hota. So, you know, whatever the case may be, you have to adjust your voice and volume accordingly, see the acoustics, see the temperature. A good speaker has to account for just about everything. Lighting dekhni padti hai, ki sahi aa rahi hai, if people in the back can see me or not. And then they have to cater to these little details. Details like bathroom breaks, details like khane mein kya hai. You know, these are things that have an eventual impact on the speaker. Now, many a times, you will be invited to places where you will not have an idea of who the audience is. So your best bet is to do the three things. Number one, research who you are, what you are beforehand. Lahore ja rahe ho, Minar Pakistan ke bare mein jaake baat karo. Islamabad mein ho, talk about Margla Hills, you know, stuff like that. Research where you are. Secondly, you have to work on who the audience is, try and get information about them, and if you don't know any information, call them out, ask them questions. As you ask them questions, they will tell you more and more. And finally, last but not the least, a crucial tool for all of you, which I'm leaving you with, is greet them at the door. If you're a speaker at a seminar, start greeting people, people will love you already. Thank you very much.